boys, we thought we had it sussed. My dad said we looked ridiculous. But boy, we broke some hearts. All right. Hey, everybody. Hey everybody. All aboard. So the research report by this guy, Michael Dion, and people on Twitter and YouTube knew this has all been a coordinated attack. It's illegal. The shorts are doing the best to keep finger down. And I think what they're doing, oh, I gotta put my mic in. I'm sure you can hear me, but it might be better if I put this in. It'll come up now. There we go. So anyway, I'll stay off. Let's talk about golf and football and stay off of all other topics. No politics, no religion, and no nothing bad about Joe Biden. Okay, so it's 474. They're walking it down. It's all fraud. And I guess their goal is going to get it to 4, get it to 3, get it to 2, get it to 1. That's what this guy says. He says, without a path to profitability, I feel this is a sub $1 stock. He's out there. Michael Dion with 85 followers. He's out there, so when the SEC knocks on the door, why did you sell so much? Well, we had this really good research report. Finger motion has an F for profitability. All small companies that are growing. The numbers you look at are revenues and cash flows. Profitability comes later. Amazon operated without profits for a long time. So did Facebook. Valuation is a C, which I believe is high looking at the details. Growth gets an A, but not sustainable. What do you mean it's not sustainable? China's been under a COVID shutdown for over a year. It just came out this quarter. It's over. And they can't have growth? Come on. Turning to the valuation multiples, I believe an overall C grade is a miscalculation due to several ratios that aren't available. I'm giving price to book gets an eyebrow-raising F. Price to book. Who measures technology companies on price to book? This isn't a bricks and mortar. This isn't a mining or a oil and gas company. Price to book. My fellow analysts were bullish on the stock before the recent run-up to the high fives, but it's now well above both of their price targets. Chat tool investments rated the stock a buy when it was $4.15 with a price target of $4.50. Sell-side analysts who also rated the stock a buy set a price target of $5. That's benchmark. I've read that to you. If Both analysts maintain their thesis and price target. This would be flipped to a sell across the board. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's their initial price target. I can't speak to Chat Tool Investments, but I can tell you that in the report from Benchmark, they said that the $5 target was conservative. I recall they even mentioned $7. But they said $5 was conservative. They said they wanted to see some more implementation, and then they would raise their price targets. Guess what? The earnings that were reported were excellent. Was it earnings? No, it was revenues. $12 million for the quarter. $12 million. And half the quarter was still in with COVID. Without a path to profitability. That's a lie. If you listen to Martin Shen's interview this morning, and he has to tell the truth, this guy, Michael Dion, can dance around the truth. He's not going to jail. But if a CEO lies, they go to jail. He said we're moving to profitability. He didn't give a specific date, but it's not the issue. He said they're pushing revenues. They're going to grow revenues. They've got 5 different areas to grow the revenues. All right, I'll leave it at that before I get all worked up. Because, when I get worked up, I go from white to red in 10 seconds. Quietly now, while I leave the stage, Act 1 is over without costume change. The principals must leave the stage. All right, let me see. What are the questions? It's ham time. It is ham time. I'm looking for one of my frustrations now, which is a quiet frustration that shows up in my voice. I don't want to admit it to anybody, but my entire life, I have been able to read without glasses. It's one of the things I've been the most proud of. But I can't, it doesn't look like I can do it anymore. And I'm looking for my little goofball glasses here. And I guess they're not here. Maybe they're here. No, they're not here. So anyway, if I misread some of your hey, Gary Ball, Key West, you remember that awful joke that Howard Stern made? You're probably not old enough. But he said, right after the accident, he said, did you hear Air Florida added a new destination? Oh, yeah. What is it? They fly to Key West, Key Biscayne, and Key Bridge. They're right where I left them. Tom Dubois. That reminds me of Valerie Dubois. Rodney Dangerfield said that he met a new woman. Her name's Valerie Dubois. She asked him to call her VD for short. And that got a lot of laughter back in the day because it was a risque topic. I don't think it's that funny then or now. My question for you is BKs and their conversion into restructure. How does this affect the shorts? Does it force them to close their position since the ticker should get rid of all debts? No. No. They've got that all sussed. Me and the boys thought we had it sussed. My dad said we looked ridiculous. What they do is in bankruptcy, the stock stops trading, and there's no 1099s. You can't determine that the stock will never have value, and you can't determine that it'll never trade again. So there's no closing transaction. There's no 1099. And the longer it's in bankruptcy, and then when it comes out of bankruptcy, there's no 1099. So there's no, from an IRS standpoint, there's no closing transaction. It just disappears off your statement. They don't pay taxes. The shorts don't get covered. They've got, this is a massively profitable criminal enterprise. And the man in charge of the SEC, glad-handing Goober Gensler, doesn't care about it because it's worth not only billions, not only hundreds of billions, trillions to the big banks and hedge funds. And they get a benefit from it. And who's the biggest of them all? Goldman Sachs. Old Goldman Sachs. 5 line is supposed to be around 430. This is all crap. I don't know what 5 line is supposed to be around 430. This is all crap. 5 line. It's 470 trading, 468, 480. Haven't hit 1 million shares. Jewelry Affairs, of course it's getting beat down because it's illegal to coordinate trades. It's illegal to put out false information. It's illegal to help each other crush a stock. It's illegal to buy puts when you know the stock's going down. It's illegal to sell calls in collusion with short selling. It's all the things they do. But FINRA, SEC, do not care. Do not care. This fraud costs you money. It costs the American people money. It cost the trillions of dollars that Helicopter Ben and the rest put in the market to stimulate the economy. Trillions. From George W. Bush to Obama to the last president that was not elected. It would have been Hillary. And now this president, who's doing a great job. We have trillions of dollars to prime the pump. Guess what? These guys come in, sell shares that don't exist. For example, how much time do I have? I don't have much time. But when they do reverse splits, they might have $250 million in an account that the prime broker won't let them have access to because they haven't delivered the shares. They're short. When they do a reverse split, let's say it was 250 million shares. They do a reverse split, all of a sudden it's only 25 million shares, 2.5 million shares. All that money, because the maintenance requirement is based on a per share basis, all that money's free to take out. They take it offshore, no closing transaction, no taxes. The money goes offshore. There's no velocity of money. The money isn't priming anybody's pump except these criminals in Germany, Switzerland, Panama, and elsewhere around the world, Cayman Islands. And Gary Gensler doesn't care. Why? Because Goldman Sachs, according to Pat Byrne, is a stock loan desk with the name of an investment bank on above the door. This is hugely profitable for Goldman Sachs. And Gary Gensler is conflicted because his net worth is tied up in Goldman Sachs stock. He hopes to have a job on the board afterward at Goldman Sachs. He probably wants to be Secretary of the Treasury in the next Biden administration. Don't rock the boat. Anyway. Hey, JR. Your dad, that's what I say next week or Friday after the close, the big boys show up. Look, on the calls, I bought some July calls this morning, the 9s. I paid 5 cents. There was no bid. I don't expect that there'll be any bid, and I expect they'll expire worthless. Why did I buy them? Because at any time, this stock could be open up $5, $10. This can gap open. But I think the way you have to treat your July calls, you're going to lose the money. They're showing it. They've destroyed the stock for 4 or 5 days illegally. Securities fraud. There is not this kind of volume of shares to sell. But Gary Gensler doesn't care. He should be fired. But hey, Goldman contributes to congressmen and congresswomen's campaigns. Hillary wasn't affected by all the speaking fees she got. We know that. But I bet Donald Trump was. All the fees he earned from Goldman Sachs. Can't have him back in office. He's corrupt. So now we're 472. But anyway, just look. I would keep your powder dry till next week, maybe even the following week. You know, maybe this is an August play, and the longer you wait before you buy August calls, the less premium. There'll be September calls next week too. You can buy September calls. Anything you buy in July right now is totally a punt. But it could be very profitable if it works. But it's a needle in the haystack. It's not investment advice. I can't give investment advice. This is all fraud today. All fraud. Do I have to say that Gary Gensler doesn't care again? Do I have to? If he knows about it and he doesn't care, does that make him complicit? Does that make him a criminal? Or is he just in his role as chairman of the SEC, he's just deciding that those rules don't really apply? Does he have that kind of discretion? I don't know. All right, let's call in. Yesterday when I called, he was asleep. He woke up. He woke up to tell you. Ready. Born ready.
I just put GTII in case you don't know. This is the naked short. They're loan sharks also. Can't make this up, Gretchen Morganson.
Yeah, Gretchen. She needs to join the fight. All right, we got 30 seconds. Do you need 30 seconds?
No, I'm ready to go. Let's roll.
Let's roll. We're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, The Voice. Coming to you from somewhere outside of Springfield is The Voice.
Anyway, welcome again. I wish we could have happier times here and everybody could be profitable. But again, this is not for your to make decisions in your investment advice. This is just a couple of guys giving you their opinion and recapping all the stuff that we see it's going on. And again,
which is fraud.
Start off with this. The gentleman, the shareholder, told me that the Washington Post did see the truck
Yay.
And the woman, she's a woman, she asked the guy who are the Kramers and Lynn partners, and she's doing work on them. So let's see if something comes out of it. Finally, we have a major financial newspaper, major newspaper that actually stopped by. Maybe she didn't know who you are, whatever. But anyway, took pictures, knows the truck, and asking questions, which is great. Again, I don't know them. Our shareholder has passed the word back. So we got a feather in our cap on that one. Okay, so we definitely know that the Washington Post was there. We know the SEC was there. Unless they thought that was the ice cream truck outside their building, they all seen the truck. Again, we're up to almost 200,000 views on Busy Brands posting of the scrolling video that was on the truck. So we're moving in the right direction. Again, this is a major counterfeiting, security fraud, and it's just a matter of time before these guys get carried out. William posted the interview of the CEO. I forgot the name of the site. It's on Twitter.
Wall Street Analyzer.
I listened to it 3 times. If you don't understand to do your homework on this, then shame on you. Just listen to the CEO. He addressed everything in there. And the partnerships that they have and they're growing are going to grow into major fundamental revenue when it hits. These are the biggest plays in the world. The insurance companies are the biggest plays in the world. Just go look at UNH. I always get a kick out of it. No matter what happens, the stock just keeps making highs. Just keeps going up every day. That's United Health. So these insurance companies, whatever they do, all they do is print money. And they're the biggest players in the world. And Finger Motion happens to be partners with Pacific Life and Munich Re. Okay, who knows who else is going to come down the pipe. They're actually doing insurance with AIZ on the cell phones. Another big player. AIZ is a $128 New York Stock Exchange stock. I don't know the market cap of the company, but I'm sure it's pretty big. So listen to William, you posted it, correct?
I did.
Forgot if I had it. So it's up there. Take the 10 minutes. Listen to the CEO. This company's not going away. Their only thing, all they're trying to do is get people to sell. They keep manipulating it down. One shareholder called me up today. He's got knowledge of about, 400,000 shares one person bought today. Again, these are not tiny people playing the game. And they can manipulate all they want. At the end of the day, they have to buy back everything they're doing. On a different note, the short sellers are now active on the put side in the August puts. You can actually see them 1,500 or 1,600 of the 4 puts and 1,500 of the 5 puts. There is no market in these puts. It's just them going back and forth. They're doing it to themselves, and they're creating stock to short against the puts. That's what they're doing. All right, remember, when you buy a put, okay, you're getting short, and the person that sells it to you now has to protect himself against his short position. If the stock goes down, he's exposed. So what they do, they try to sell some stock short versus their puts that they sold, and they have a hedge. All right, so it's the opposite of a call. They're betting the stock's going to go down. So they're coming up with some added pressure. That's what they're doing right now. All right, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to create stock by the market maker so that they can short the stock. All right, it's a common thing that they try to do, and this is just part of the game. All right, the SEC allows it. Obviously, they're running out of steam of naked shorting and trying to borrow shares, so they're trying to create it with the use of options now. All right, this is something else. But at the end of the day, they need to buy back everything they're doing. Do you have any questions before I continue?
I'll just ask the first one. It's off your topic. If Gary Gensler doesn't care about this, what chance do we have?
It's little and none. No. Again, GameStop, Gary Gensler, no one knew anything about it. AMC, no one knew anything about it. KOSS, no one knew anything about it. VW, no one knew anything about it. Herbalife. You want me to continue? When they break and get exposed, that's what happens. the stocks go to the moon. All right? We all know how big the short is, and we all know who the short is. All right? We're not going away. They will break. I just don't know the time and the place when they break. All right? They can't do this forever. All right? If they were doing this forever, if they thought they can win for the millionth time, all right, everybody clean your ears out. If they thought they can win, they would let the stocks go higher. They can't win. That's why they're forcing it lower. They want you to panic out. That's it. It's pretty easy. If the stock goes up, they have a margin and they can't meet it. So they have no choice but to try to hold it down. They can't hold it down forever. Next.
One gentleman noticed that many of the purchase orders, the buy orders today, went off with 4 decimals. To him, that's complete fraud.
Listen, again, my biggest question about all the decimals and all those numbers is how do you get change from when you buy it? What good is those numbers? It's complete. I agree with them. It's all garbage.
I would point out to you, I just bring it up to you, but there, come next week, there should be options in September as well.
Again, listen, the option game is about timing. All right? This stock, everything was in aligned. The only thing we couldn't stop was the kamikaze selling, relentless selling by the shorts. I can't stop it. You can't stop it. Okay, the SEC, we alerted them. We made calls to them. I just spoke with Major Tom. He called up the SEC, just doing it again. Just keep calling. Tom, keep doing it. They're stealing your money. All right? Don't let up. Keep calling them up.
It's 4:53 as we speak. I guess they're taking the opportunity to wash some more shares.
There's definitely some crosses going on. There's all of a sudden the stock all of a sudden starts trading and there's big prints going off. I know a couple of people have been buying it, like I just pointed out. It's funny. I just looked at these stocks. Lynn Partners just gave this company $7 million ID. For hours, the stock has traded 23,000 shares at 44 cents. Hours, it hasn't moved. Not even 100 shares trading. That is normal trading in the stock. All right, there's no one has an axe to grind. Investors are long. They buy it when they want. The short sellers are not even active in that stock today. Lynn wants that stock to lift because he can't short against the 44-cent stock, or else he did it already. But that's a stock that's normal trading. When buyers show up and sellers, that's normal. BRAG owes Lynn $10 million. Look how orderly 10,000 shares have traded, not a non-event. Finger motion, it's like it's Tesla, back and forth, up and down. It's all over the place. See, there's the reason that this stock is so active. They need it to be volatile. They need people to sell. It's very different. Right? You can see the activity. The activity is showing me that these guys are in a panic. They need to do anything to get you to sell. That's what they're doing. And there'll be a level where people will step in and clean them out. All right? I don't know what that is. If it's 6 or it's 5, it's 4, whatever it is. You know what? Again, listen to the CEO, and you'll understand why I'm standing tall here. I'm following what the CEO is saying. And to me, he's saying all the right things. Let me just take a step back for a second. I put up yesterday a stock, NEOV. Someone brought it to my attention. I'm told it is an SEC investigation into the short sellers in this name. It's not a huge trader, but from what I hear, it's someone, a shareholder that had ties to the SEC, that's actually bringing the attention to the SEC. So I guess we have to find someone in GTII and Finger that actually works for the SEC to do the same thing for us here. But these are all good things that help us out, like MULN joining the fight, this guy joining the fight. NEOV is, someone is reporting it to the SEC. Again, I don't own it. I'm just following it. But we always look for all the help we can. So, again, I don't know who the gentleman is, but let's hope they catch him. Maybe it's a savvy type character, one of these real petty anti guys, and they'll catch him. So just bring it to your attention. I don't own it. I'm watching it, looking for news, and hopefully someone gets arrested here. I just wanted to get it to your attention. What else do we need to go?
Well, several comments. There goes thousands of dollars in my July calls. A lot of people lost money in July calls. July calls are getting hammered. Ham's recommendation of July calls hasn't worked. Dyer, all the options trading in July just resupplied shorts with money. Thought big buyers were coming in. Guess what? They're not coming in.
Okay, so
We're all
I'll
bag
just go the
holders.
opposite. So I'm going to get to the opposite. I'm going to give you a few shareholders. I'll get them on the call that bought 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, and made money in all of them. I'm not here to trade for you. If you don't know what you're doing, that's your problem. All right? Options are the best way to play with limited risk. My position has gotten whooped worse than your options got whooped. Trust me. All right? I watch it every day go down. All right? I'm not sitting here crying for you. I'm standing tall, and I'm not crying. All right? If you didn't trade your options or you bought them wrong, go get an option book. I'm not here to educate you. I'm here to help you help expose the fraud. That's what I'm doing. People wanted to know the best way to play it. I said July calls because they're cheap. And why not August calls? Because they're going to be half the price if this doesn't work now. What you're watching is security fraud. If you got a gripe, call the SEC up and tell them to follow the sell tickets, and I'll be glad to stand there with you. If you like, I'll drive you to the SEC. All right? So before you start griping, okay, it's like I bet on the wrong football team and the wrong baseball game. I don't cry. I made my own decisions. You made your own decisions. You hit the buy button. I didn't do it. That's your responsibility. All right? You wanted to join this call. This is about education. I cannot stop security fraud. I think we said that about 5,000 times. All right? You got a problem. Lynn Partners is on Madison Avenue. Go knock on their door and go punch them in the face. They stole your money, not me. There's your shorts. The shorts are loaded with your money. Go look at them. They have your money. Go enjoy it. Don't tell them. Bring it up to me. We know what it's about. Next.
Several people pointed out that, in fact, they made money on options by listening to you rolling up from the 2s and 3s.
I tried to teach people the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s. They all went to dollars from 20 cents. If you don't know how to move it around and protect your ass, which I told you 1,000 times, all right, I can't help you. All right, this is not options. All right, you can trade an option like a stock. You don't stand there like the Statue of Liberty. They have a time, they expire. The shorts are manipulating the stock, so hopefully that the people don't make money in the calls. It's not me selling millions of shares every day trying to knock it down. I wish it was and I could steal your money. All right? I can't. I'm not allowed to do it, and I wouldn't do it. But these guys are doing it. Lynn Partners, Madison Avenue. You see their pictures? Go stand in front of the building and hit them. There you go. Knock yourself out. They're your crooks.
So a couple of people asked similar questions. One guy says the shorts will never lose. And another says...
The shorts will never lose. That's what they said in GameStop.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I was here for GameStop. So the shorts never lose. You wish you owned calls in GameStop. So do I. I wish I held on to $550.
And then
what changing?
What
the
will
stock was just $1. It went to $7.
What will keep the shorts from doing this to Finger and GTII for the next 5 years?
If the shorts thought they can win, they'd let the stock go to 7, 10, 15, 20. They can't win. Their attempts to knock it down are faster than it goes up. Why? Because they do not have the money. I don't know how to say that. Do you want me to say it to you in Chinese?
Yes.
It's the same pattern every day. They cannot let it go up, and they force it down because they cannot let it go up. There's your answer. If you can't see it, it's the same pattern. GTI ran to $1.37. They blasted it down below $1. Faster than it went up, they blasted it down. Who wants less? Write that on your left hand, and on your right hand, write only a fraud, naked short does. That's all you need to know. That's the game. That's the game.
So let's be more positive. let's be more positive. Sorry about getting that out of the way. Do
No,
you still?
listen. I'm just trying. Listen, I'm just trying to teach you. This is a big boy game. If you're gonna get robbed, you're gonna get robbed. It's not because of me. It's because of the naked shorts and the counterfeiters. I told you before, they're gonna steal your money, your kids' money, your grandkids' money. Stand up and fight back. I can't stop it. Don't blame me. I'm not the short seller. All right, you're shooting the messenger.
Do you think the 2 or 3 week window, whatever it is, Tom Ronk suggested, is it still in play?
I don't think anything has changed. Listen, stocks go up, break out, pull back. Where's all your chart people? Stocks break up, pull back. This is healthy, then it goes. I can't. This is. They're trying to make it unhealthy so that people bail out. There's no selling in the stock. Just look at the manipulation. There's nothing going on. There's people accumulating it.
There was, you made a point when you were talking about the July calls, which is right. If people had bought the August, the premiums are down by more than a half. You have a chance to buy August next week or September if you want to. You don't have to. One guy's asking, did the shorts have to put up?
I want to read something to you first. The gentleman that I know very well, he sent me his option positions. He owned the 4s, the 5s, the 6s, the 7s, and the 8s. All right? And he paid, for the 4s, he paid 40 cents for it. I'll just go by that. 40 cents. All right? With the stock at 7, those options were worth $3. So basically a stock went from, let's say, $4 to $30. So, the number is enormous. That's a big return. All he had to do was flip those calls at $2, and he would have covered all the rest of his options for free. But I can't trade for you. All right? So this is the game. These things were dirt cheap. Okay? The shorts are manipulating the stock. Where this thing closes on Friday, I don't know. But we're throwing everything. I had 20 people call the SEC up the whistleblower complaint. I told everybody on Twitter. I showed you the Kodak, finger motion, GTII, MMTLP, billions of dollars. If there's a whistleblower award, donate my money to cancer research. All right? So if you think I'm here to make money, you're out of your bird. All right, I'm here to help expose this. I've been doing it 23 years. And before I leave the planet, I want this over with. So if you don't believe me, then hang up and move along. All right, because this is what I'm doing. 23 years I wasted. So for the clowns that have been here for 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, a year, take a walk. 23 years I put in. All right, so again, you don't want to listen to me? Go someplace else. Call a cop. Next.
Did the short have to put up additional money?
The short is dying at $7, and he drove it down fast on a kamikaze approach because he had no more money. That's why they're knocking it down. They're not knocking it down so they can give everybody a discount on their stock purchases. They're doing it because they're broke. They cannot afford it. Plain and simple. But the problem is with finger motion, it's a real company, got tremendous fundamentals. So where are they going? They're totally trapped. What day is it going to explode? I hope it goes in 32 seconds. I can't tell you. And I'll tell you this. When it does go, you're going to miss an opportunity of a lifetime, just based on what you're seeing. And if you can't see it, once again, hang up, go buy some IBM, and go back to work. There's nothing else I can tell you. Go buy UNH, Caterpillar. Go buy one of the 10 stocks that they buy every day. Good luck.
A couple of questions. How do they keep shorting without money? Aren't they just going to walk away anyway? Why don't they just keep shorting? They're not going to ever cover.
They're borrowing stock. They did that. We showed you that. It's up to 1 million shares.
Right.
They could short every day. They could be mismarking tickets, sell tickets as long sales. They could be, now they're trying to create stock by buying puts. Okay? They're trying every trick in the book to try to hold this stock down. It's a $5 stock with great fundamentals. What's the big rush to hold it down? They cannot let it go up. They do not have the money. That is what the panic is all about.
Can they create infinite amounts of counterfeit shares?
No. They would have GameStop, AMC, KOSS, you name it, Volkswagen. If it was so easy just to continue making counterfeit shares, do you think it goes on forever? If they can do it, they let the stock go higher. Why do you need to create 1 billion shares where I can sell 10 million shares at $50 and make more money, and I can hide 10 million shares than hiding 1 billion shares of fake shares, right?
That's right. Anna says she's fighting with you and she appreciates all you do.
I'm still mad at her.
So here will sound like a complete off the wall question. I know how I answer it. A couple of people are asking, can the calls in July still work out? My answer is yes, but don't expect it. Don't expect it.
I gave you an example. I bought USX calls 2.5 weeks. They were worthless. I used a lot of money, and I bought the 30 calls. The stock was 28.5, and I thought it would move towards 30. My options were basically all worthless. At 10 to 4, Carl Icahn came in and bought 30, 40 million shares of USX. It took it from 28.5 to 33. My options that were zero went to $3 in 9 minutes. And that was the end of the day. And that was option expiration when he did it. And the reason they sold it on option expiration, the reason he purchased it, because the short sellers were trying to hold it down below 30. So he's probably able to buy a lot of stock and then caught them, and then it busted out to 33, which was good for me. And if I knew it was going to go in that time, I wouldn't have owned 1,000 calls. I would have owned 1 million calls, but I didn't know.
Do you think, I'm just asking you, is somebody buying? Do you think there's big buyers coming?
Yes, I just told you that.
All right. It's just a question on my list.
I just told you. I put it on Twitter. A friend called me up. One guy bought 400,000 today. One.
Wow.
Not 400 people buying 1,000 shares. One guy buying 400,000 shares.
And just to be clear, you're not telling people not just to simply buy the stock. It's just you're showing that options are an alternative.
You're asking me a question. Do I know people buying the stock? And I told you yes.
No, what I mean is someone's suggesting that people should just buy the stock rather than options.
No, listen. I'm an option guy. Use 100 times better leverage than options. Okay?
Right.
I just don't know the timing of everything. The timing of the last move, everything was aligning itself with the insiders owning the whole company. The options were trading. The truck was going in front of the SEC. Everything was aligning, and that's why the stock was starting to go. The stock got to 7. The shorts are in a panic. They have to attack it. They came in like it was Pearl Harbor. Attack, attack, attack. Tora, Tora, Tora. Kill, kill, kill. That's all they were doing. I can't stop that. The reason they do that is because they're dead. I will be the first to tell you that these guys, their life is over soon. I don't know what day it is, but we will not stop reporting them to the FBI, to DOJ, to the politicians in D.C. Their faces will not, they'll be everywhere, okay, until they get carried out. Savvy thought he was getting away. They busted him, all right? If they're catching that slob, they're going to get these guys also, all right? No one even knew who Savvy was, and he got busted.
This guy, Michael Dion, who wrote the Seeking Alpha, he says that he didn't name it specifically, but you can tell it's what he's talking about. The benchmark analyst said the target was $5. Now it went above it. Therefore, the guy must be turning to a sell order, and he concludes that it's a sub $1 stock. How would you compare the benchmark research report to this piece of crap from Michael Dion?
He has no clue. Listen to the CEO. Listen, Michael Dion is Andrew Left in training. Andrew Left is a professional assassin. This guy's just following what he does. He was paid by somebody to do this report. They timed it on the day the truck was there. We had the call. I said, you have to be insane to be shorting on the day the truck is in front of the SEC. So what did they do? They created a Seeking Alpha article that they can use as interference. Hey, I shorted the stock because of the article. And if you go back and look, I put the 1 day chart up. When the story came out, that's when they were attacking it, right? When the story came out. Pretty easy to see.
So
and if you look at Andrew Left, all his targets, it's the same patterns. Go ahead.
So Benchmark Capital had a price target of 5. That would seem to be a pretty valid research report. They also, I read it in detail. They also said that's a low estimate. Their numbers could be
Listen, the guy from Seeking Alpha is a 100% paid for Shill. He whether he's tied to Timmy.
Is that illegal?
Of course it is, but how do you prove it? All right, you prove it by listening and doing your research. This is a clear-cut attack. I watched this movie for 30 years. Andrew Left, Carson Black, Hindenburg, they all do the same thing. Chanos, you name it, they all come out. It's a fraud, it's this, it's not worth it. That's because the short sellers provide such wonderful information for us.
Somebody's asking the name of your trading firm because he wants to transfer his shares to your firm. But maybe there is some place, I guess GTII and others, that down the road you might have...
I just got to think. Crayon Eater just told me he bought the $5 calls when the stock was $2 for 15 cents. He sold half and rolled the rest with house money. So there you go. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Well, and I've been telling people, I bought the 2s and I rolled them with your advice. I rolled them into the 8s and 9s. But I took 80% of my money off the table. 80% of the...
That's how you play options. All right? And I apologize if I'm yelling, but again, I've told everybody 1,000 times, options, you can trade options. You can trade options for a nickel. I could buy options at 5 cents, 1,000 of them. If I sell 500 at a dime, I own 500 for free. I'll do that trade every day of the week. All right, that's option trading. The name of the game is stay alive because you don't never know when it's going to happen. You just don't know. Unless you got inside information from your Goldman Sachs investment banker who usually gives it out the back door, or Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan. They tipped off everybody. That's a different story.
Do you know anything about rocket fuel?
One guy just said to me, I sold 5 calls for 600% and the rest for free. Holding the rest.
That's it. That's it. That's exactly right.
I mean, again, I'm not looking for anybody to say I'm wonderful at this. I'm trying to help you and make sure you don't lose money due to security fraud. Security fraud. Etch that in your head. Look at the truck. We're screaming. We're whistleblowing for every investor in this company. In GTII, Valuation, and MMTLP, we're screaming, whistleblowing in front of the SEC. That's your government. Pat Byrne, and I'm going to say it again, Pat Byrne said on the call, vote for Donald Trump and we'll end this as soon as he gets in office because Pat Byrne will be in the SEC and help this out. So if you want to end it, to vote for Donald Trump and forget all this other nonsense. You need to end this fraud. If you got a beef against anybody, go get a crayon and go right on a wall. But again, I'm voting for Donald Trump because I need to end this security fraud.
Jenny L., who is terrific, writes, and it's amazing how she finds all this. She says the Seeking Alpha CEO came from Morgan Stanley. So who's his loyalty really to? She's 100% right.
Listen, I don't care. These guys come out of these firms and they're writing stories. If they're so wonderful at what they do, all right, why don't they just invest, go short the stock, and what are you going to write a whole story about? Right? Who cares what they're saying? What's the big deal?
Now, people are asking where they can hear the audio interview. On my Twitter, I put it up, but it's at it's at wallstreetanalyzer.com, GTIIanalyzer.com. Or it's on, just go to my Twitter, which is my name. Did you just beep?
I'm just going to get the my phone always beeps, so here it is. I'm going to post it right now on Twitter.
So it's on ham@hamshortkiller.twitter or whatever the ending of that is on Twitter.
There it is. I'm putting up now. Valuation CEO, FNGR CEO.
Lina Rez shared it. Go to Lina Rez.
Oh, I put the wrong thing up there. I'm sorry. I put the Kramers again. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm not that quick. Hold on a second, William.
Someone's pointing out that whoever plays pickleball against you today is in trouble.
Yesterday, I hit a ball so hard. The gentleman on the other side, he said to me, "Do you have anger issues?" I said, "I'm not really."
I think you have anger management on the court. People are all asking, this is going to go on and on and on, that what people don't we haven't seen it in these stocks, but it shows up in other stocks, so it can show up here. Price is the big cure. These Wall Street types will cover when they start losing a shitload of money, and it'll get out of control on the upside.
Listen, this is the difference. Finger Motion has major companies they're doing business with. Their revenues are exploding. It's in the biggest market in the world. And if you told somebody a couple of years ago, oh, Mike, every company in the world is running to China. Starbucks, McDonald's, Tesla, you name it. Everybody wants to get in China. AIZ tried to get in China for 20 years. They couldn't open a door. All right? They were introduced to Finger Motion. Finger Motion opened the door in 2 weeks. They had a deal done to do cell phone insurance for all of China, thanks to Finger Motion. That's how connected Finger Motion is. If you don't understand that, go listen to the CEO. I just gave you the AIZ story. These guys couldn't open a door in China. And it's done. Everyone wants to get to China. There's 1.5 billion people.
This one person hasn't been listening. If you want to get the video of Martin Shen, excellent. It's not a video, it's an audio. Go to ham, H-A-M, at ham, H-A-M, short killer, SHORTKILLER on Twitter. You can find Martin Shen's audio interview at ham short killer on Twitter. Or you can go to wallstreetanalyzer.com. Can you stop asking that question, please? Okay, go on.
It's there. It's great. He goes through it slow. He does it super slow and explains it. The guy he speaks the English language perfect. If you don't understand it, it's perfect.
He pointed out, and maybe you can comment on this because you're right about these revenue sources, but he pointed out that he pushed revenue to $12 million in the last quarter, but China was in COVID lockdown. What's different now? It's out of lockdown. So revenue should grow. And he said that they should grow over the next 2 quarters. So
again, the company is growing and the short keeps growing. What's the disconnect here? Who's shorting it? Who owns 1 million shares a day that they could sell?
Nobody.
Selling it down every day.
Nobody.
Who wants to lose? If I owned 1 million shares, would I sell it from 7 down to 460 to lose $2.5 million? Out of my $7 million, it was $7 million total position, $1 million at 7. Now I'm going to come out of it with 4.6 million. Okay? Either the investor's drunk or it's a fraud. And there you go. There's your answers. Check whatever box you think it is.
And I hope somebody's at the SEC listening. It's fraud. Look into it.
It's all fraud.
Look
it's
into it.
Complete fraud. Anyone who's ever traded a stock, and you can see, I just brought to your attention this DI. They got 7 million from Lynn. It's traded 23,000. I talked about it before. It's still 23,000. There's not one seller, no buyer. When there's nothing going on, that's what a stock looks like. Finger motion, every tick, there's a markdown, a markdown, a mark. They put a big bid in, they hit the bid, every second.
One gentleman, I don't know if
Yeah.
this guy is Shill or not, but he's saying, "Hey, I believe Finger and GTI will squeeze, but unfortunately, I'm human and I can't hold on much longer." Don't hold on much longer.
That's it. If you can't handle it, you can't handle the heat, you get out of the kitchen. Listen, it's not my job. Listen, you have to protect your family. You have to protect yourself. No one's protecting you. Okay? The SEC, your regulator, we put a truck at the front door of the SEC. William filmed it because he lives in D.C. It's right there. That is the best glass building in the United States. You can pull up to the front door. You can't do that in New York City. That's the front door of the SEC, the top security regulator in the United States. That's the 10th time we put the truck there. And look what you have to watch. Okay? I can see all the damage before. But once the truck shows up again and they continue to do it, they got a pair of balls that's insane, and that tells me they're not inside this country playing this game.
This guy just bought July 7 calls for a nickel. I bought 9s this morning. I'm jealous.
Right.
But hey, they work or they don't, and likelihood is they won't. But if they do, it's a grand slam. It's not a home run.
I just told you what happened to me. I went from nothing to $3. I used to trade, for anybody who, most people don't understand this, used to be an index, the XMI index.
I remember it.
It was a super, super fast trading index. It was mostly oil related. And options used to trade to 410. I used to buy the calls on triple witching on the expiration days. I used to buy the XMI calls. Let's say the XMI index was 200. I would buy the 205s at 355. 5 minutes before, 15 minutes, the market closes 4. But if there was a buy program coming on, I would buy them. And sometimes the index would, we'd go straight past the 200. I bought the 205s, and close at 210.
Wow.
You buy 100 calls, I walk away making 50,000 on no money because I would catch the runoff. All right, we used to trade options like that all the time for any activity. For example, I'll give you an example. I meant to tell you this before. Tesla is 292. The 300s for this Friday. Let's do an option class for you. Let's see if I can see the 300s for this Friday. Is that the truth? July. The 300s for this Friday are $8.20. Is that correct?
Wow. I can't see them.
Who wants to buy those with 2 days to go?
They must know something.
$8. The 302s is 7. So now let's look at it this way. On Friday at 3 o'clock, at 2:30, mark it down. If this stock is 292 at 2:30 on Friday, I would take a shot of those options for 25 cents, $25. Because if you catch a runoff and it squeezes on Friday into the close past 300, you make a fortune because all the premium is out of them. And I did that trade. Okay, one time the stock was around this level before they did the reverse, the splits. I bought the 300 calls with the stock at 285, and the stock was running. I waited it to get to 290. I jumped in. I paid 30 cents for the 300s just to take a shot. The stock got to 299. I sold them at $8.
Wow.
Okay? I made $70,000 or something like that. The stock closed at 325, and on Monday it opened up 100 points higher. Right, so I could have sold my options. I sold at 8. That expired in an hour. I sold them at 8. It closed at $25, and on Monday the stock opened up $100 more. But I couldn't afford. I wasn't going to buy the 300s for Monday because they were like $30 or $40. So that's playing options with no premium in it.
Tesla has earnings after hours today.
Okay, so that's you want to roll. That's why the options are so high.
Yeah, there's a lot of premium.
They don't know if it's going up 50 or down 50.
Exactly.
So that is the real Russian roulette if you want to go out there and play. This is what goes on. Okay, in GTII, I apologize if anyone lost the money. I can't stop the security fraud. All right, but the stock did go from 2 to 7. People bought the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s. Even the 6s were dime or whatever. They went to $1 when the stock went to $7.20.
This is a fair enough question. On the day that calls or options expire, do you have to sell to close, or do you just get the closing price?
You just get the closing price. If listen, we'll talk about it on Friday. Let's see what happens.
The stock. Yeah, go ahead.
Real time.
Go ahead.
Excuse me?
No, I interrupted you. I talked over.
I said let's watch it in real time and we can explain it because obviously options. The 8s, the 9s, the 10s, the 11s, they're all basically worthless right now, down to dimes and nickels. All right. Let's see what happens on Friday.
The stock is under that $5.29 trigger squeeze price. Does it mean anything?
No. The company has the fundamentals to warrant a higher price. The short is pushing it down because he has a margin call. What's going to give here? The company's next quarter is probably going to be higher than the last quarter. It's growing the right way. What partnerships, what good news is coming out for the company? Who's going to keep selling it? We all know they're here. They're short 160 million shares. You can't hide it forever. If the SEC sends one letter to anybody, or West Christian does anything, or a naked short like in this, whatever, that NEOV gets busted, or somebody gets busted, these stocks are all going to explode. If finger motion explodes, GTI will rip right behind it. That's how it works. Once these guys get caught, the DOJ arresting somebody, anything like this could happen, and it's off to the races.
This question this gentleman asks every day. I usually skip it, but is it checkmate for finger this month or the end of the year?
I wish it was tomorrow. I just posted, take a look at Wolf. People are selling Wolf. They're buying GTII. I said it 50,000 times. They own the stock below $1. How do I know? Because I recommend it to everybody on Wall Street below $1. They said they were going to start selling it, and they're going to buy GTII. So I can't call them up and say, hurry up, the stock's at 90 cents, and Wolf looks like it wants to keep screaming. I can't make people sell their positions and run into something else. They came, you saw it, they stuck the stock to 137, and they took it to 120. As soon as they stop buying, what happens? The shorts are marking it down.
This is starting to get obscure. One guy's asking if he's
traveling out of the country, does he need a VPN to sell? Or
no. Does he have to be in the United States? Ignore it. He's not thinking clearly.
I have people that live in Dubai that have a Fidelity account.
Just call in on a,
There's an 800 number, you can call in.
Use your computer. I mean, come on.
Listen, don't even worry about it. Let it go. And when you wake up on Monday, hopefully you get the reward.
Yeah. Is GTII over? Do you want to say anything about GTII?
It's not over. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Yes, for certain people.
No. We're not going away. They're short 400 million shares. Look at the truck. Do you think we're going away? It just so happens that Finger and GTI flip-flopped, and Finger Motion took center stage because of the report at $5, turned the stock, the options were trading, the insider ownership looks just like VW. Everything was aligned, and the stock just took off from $1.40 to $7. So that put it in the forefront. What's the matter?
Pete Tong is pointing out to you he didn't think the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, but
okay, that's That's from the movie Animal House. John Belushi.
Classic
I know
line.
I'm not that bright, but I'm not that stupid. But anyway.
I like this question. Didn't a gamma squeeze start GME? It could happen here by Friday, maybe. I don't quite understand.
The short is trying to do everything to prevent what you just said. This is why they bought puts. They're trying to get as much shares, as much weight. They threw criminals in here. They threw a seeking out the story. They sold millions of shares at the market. They bought puts to try to mark it down. All this to stop a stock from going up. And I told you before, who would not want a stock to go up? Only a short seller that doesn't have the money to maintain his position. That's it. There's no other reason. Zero.
We've been on for almost an hour and only 70,000 shares have, quote, traded. They're mostly crossed, I bet.
And I would say out of the 70,000 traded, 69,000 were fake back and forth.
Exactly. It's all fraud. But
so we do, for those who don't understand it, they go 460 bids for 5,000. They sell them to 5,000. The person buying it is the same person. They turn around and they sell it. It's the same thing. It's like hot potato. You just passing it back and forth. My friend just said, tell people look at GTI and finger charts for the first week of October. Both went 8 times in a week. Will happen again.
That was last October. Yeah.
Yep.
They soared.
I don't know why. It just took off.
And that's what'll happen. You'll come in one day, it'll open up 3, up 5, and you'll be going, what's going on? No one will know.
You don't know. I told you before, they don't ring a bell. It says, hey, the short squeezes will begin. Can you go put your hat on, get ready? Okay, yeah, sure. So, I told you before, I missed it. Listen, again, the manipulation, the SEC, I can't believe. I would bet my kidney that these guys are following what's going on here. There's not a prayer that they can walk away from this thing. Lynn Partners, I know those 4 idiots don't have a trading desk mentality. They're sitting there, they're just paper players moving back and forth, conning the next CEO to do a deal with them. Wherever their trading desk is, whether it's in some shithole cave in Europe somewhere, I don't know where it is, or Panama or wherever they're doing it from, they're doing it from offshore. There's not even a question they're not here. I've spoken to some crazy ass motherfuckers, I'll use that word, who said the same thing. No gangster, tough guy, anybody would stay around with this type of heat on them, with their names exposed and their pictures. Nobody. All right? No one. These guys are sick for standing around. I can't. When they do get caught, I'll be the first guy to yell out, hang them, give the death penalty. I'll be the first guy there. Because I can bring in guys like Tom, who needs help, who's handicapped, a military guy. Okay? I get calls like that every day from people that are suffering. Like the MMTLP people put up their money and they just get robbed by these guys and they don't give a shit because they want a bigger stake. It's a disgrace.
I had a question, but I forgot it. Somebody's pointing out that Torchlight was shorted from Germany, and that makes sense.
Wes Christian said there's trillions of shares that are parked in Germany. Make it short. Trillions. Listen, I just pointed out finger motion with the price from yesterday is at almost a $900 million fraud that they sold. 160 million shares at $5. Do the math.
Mm-hmm.
Kodak, it's 1 billion shares, and it's $11 is their average, is their squeeze trigger. 11. 1 billion times 11. That's how much money they've stolen in Kodak. Yeah. Even if it's half right, make it 500 million times 11. All right, there's $5 billion there. This is trillions stolen. We are fighting the whole system Everybody knows what's going on, but it can't last forever.
I think this guy means this in a positive way. Why didn't the finger shorts exit their position while they were in the profit for a buck? And
because they want it to go to zero, and they pay no taxes. When you buy a stock and sell it, the government recognizes your profit or loss. When you sell a stock short, the government sees that you have an open trade, you're short, betting it's going down. If the stock goes to zero and you never cover it, never buy it back, you pay no taxes because the government still recognizes as an open position. And you say, why would they do that? Well, that's what they were doing in GameStop. That's what they were doing in AMC. That's what they're trying to do in TLRY, Peloton, you name it. They're trying to do it to all these names. Knock them down, knock them out of business. Their bikes are no good. Their pot is no good. Everything is no good. Everything is no good. Everything. All these companies who came up with these great
they were
ideas,
good when they funded them.
Yeah, that's the best part. Oh, they're wonderful. Now we don't like them anymore. Target zero.
To me, that's the pump, and then they dump. So what's your
I'll
guts?
give you an example on that. I'll give you an example of a pump and a dump. Facebook went public. Everyone loved it. Okay? You couldn't find anyone who didn't like Facebook. I forget where it opened up, maybe 42, 50 bucks.
I think 38. I kind of remember it opening at 38.
Went to 42. And then the stock went straight down to 18. And you say, why would it go down? They kept putting stories out that the company couldn't figure out how to get revenue from what they were doing. And it turns out they were driving it down. They drove it down to 18 because that was when the insiders were allowed to sell. They took out all the insiders at $18 on their first tranche of sales, right? And that's what they did.
So the insiders had a clause they could sell if it went down to 18.
They sold it at the 6 months, whatever they were allowed, that was the holding period. So they bashed it down from the opening straight down. After they took them out at 18, everyone on the street recommended it and went straight up. I wrote the letter to Zuckerberg back then detailing that, exactly what they did, because I watched them do it.
Unbelievable. Or it is believable.
I put up the story how they naked shorted on IPOs. Go read the story in Forbes. Naked shorting in the Uber IPO. Go Google that.
But it's so cleansing. That's the good thing. The shorting is
everything
cleansing.
It's you're at a dice game and you're betting the number. You're betting 6 and 8, but those numbers aren't even on the dice. That's how crazy it is. Your number in roulette is 27. There's a big block of something in it that your ball can never go into that number. I mean, it's insane what they're doing.
What's your gut sense on Finger? What's going to happen this week, next week? Or?
This manipulation is going nowhere. They keep trying. All they're doing is selling it. They would do what you're seeing now. They were doing it at $1.40. This stock was $9 when it was added to the NASDAQ. Fundamentals are 100 times stronger, and these guys are trying to sell it down to $4.50 right now. You tell me what's wrong with this picture. The CEO is right there. Someone just offered 200 shares at $4.59. They want to hurry up and sell their 200 shares. All they're trying to do is close the spread so everybody in this call says their stock is going down. That's all it's about. It's manipulation.
If Finger squeezes and GTI squeezes or is it going to cost too much that they can't afford to cover?
Yes, GameStop, Volkswagen, they lost $30 billion. The guy jumped in front of a train. GameStop, Merlin Capital lost $9 billion. How many other guys went belly up?
But so how do they cover? Where does the money come from?
Because some other short sellers getting killed. Everybody gets killed. That's how it goes. Where did the money come from Volkswagen? Where did it come from GameStop?
Well, and my experience is the error desk just buys. They worry about paying for it later. They close out the error.
They take their lumps, and that's just the way it goes.
Yep.
I wouldn't be concerned about the losers, right? They don't care about that they're stealing money from you. They hear us on the phone talking, all right? But again, don't worry about the people that are going to lose. Don't worry. I'll be the first to piss on them when they're sitting in the street.
This question, the guy's asking, it looks like the shorts in GTI and Finger learn from the shorts in AMC. They can just keep this up forever. I think it's different because nobody's going to rescue these guys the way.
These guys are low-hanging fruit criminals. Savvy was a low-hanging fruit criminal.
Right.
Okay? That's who the DOJ is going to grab the trash. They're going to grab Andrew Left. They're going to grab a couple of our guys, the Lynns, the Kramers, guys like Savvy. They're not going to go after, whatchamacallit. They'll grab Yorkville. They're not going to go after Citadel.
Right. And they're going to rescue Melvin, whatever it was, Capital, because they're helping themselves.
They got it.
I just observe this options, but all of this trading is manic depressive. Everybody's depressed now. Just get through Friday.
You're not depressed at all. Listen.
Not you, but everybody on the, we'll be manic again. We'll be manic.
I have hundreds of friends that own calls. Hundreds. Okay? But they were smart enough to move themselves around. Most of them, Anna, people that didn't listen. Okay? You need to understand.
She did well.
I'm not saying that.
Yesterday.
I'm just scolding her. Anyway, you need to be on your toes and position this. This is all fraud. This isn't normal trading. And I keep trying to tell everyone, stop trying to chart fraud. It's impossible. How does the stock go from looking so great to where they're shitting all over it in 2 days? All right, this is manipulation. This isn't stock trading. This is the Wild West. We're here to stop it and expose it. That's what we're doing. And the risk reward is, if we're right, it's life-changing. Why? Because of security fraud. I say it every day. This opportunity is here because of security fraud, nothing else.
This seems easy for me, but it's a legitimate question. What's the risk that the shorts know something we don't know?
0.
That's exactly. They have one playbook.
0. I've been studying this stock since December 31st, 2018. What year is this? 2023? December 31st, 2018, I've been studying finger motion. Tell me how much more they know than me.
Regarding finger motion, probably not much, but maybe on other things.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. Yeah, they sign a note. They give you a check after they sold enough money. And like William says, we signed a note. We're giving you $7 million, but we're going to give you a down payment of $150,000. Hurry, we need to sell some more stock, and then we'll give you more. I would like to get a small company, go to them, take a $10 million note, and then blow the money in a casino until we file for bankruptcy. Take it easy.
Well, maybe since SEC and FINRA don't care, maybe all of us could start a fund, get a market maker, and start manipulating stocks to the downside.
It's free money. I'm the first person to say it every day. The only thing is I don't know how to navigate the banking system. If I knew how to move money around in the banking system, I'd join the crooks. I would join the Kramers. I go out drinking with them. Hey, buddy, teach me how you did it. Lynn, show me, give me your connections.
And then we wouldn't have to pay taxes. We would be heroes.
And we have a party every day. Hey, there's a buyer. Hit the bid. That's it. Don't worry about it. That's what the SEC is condoning. They're condoning guys like Yorkville, the short and Wolf. Yorkville, the short and CELU. Think about Yorkville. They gave a guy $6 million and destroyed a company that can actually save your life. Couldn't kill us. They sell the stock every day until they get their money out. That's what's going to happen.
This is Skinny Whale is great. And do you? I'm interpreting her question. She's much smarter than I am. But do you think this manipulation is at the options level this week?
I think the manipulation is at the option level.
Options.
I'm trying to think of what that means.
The desks. Well, I'll read you her whole. She's a lot.
She wants to know. She thinks that the options are causing the manipulation.
She says, I'll read it. We need to follow the institutions who are selling the calls and the puts, and also check which institution or whales that are holding the stocks. The manipulation is at the options level.
Listen, there was no options trading. There was no open interest. There was nothing. No institutions coming out here to sell options at 20 cents. There's no money in it. People want to sell options. Go sell those Tesla 300s at $8. That's money.
Right.
This is the people that sold the calls to us are penny players that got roasted when the stock ran to 7. And it's all tied to Lynn. That's where it all goes back to them.
Do you think West Christian is making any progress maybe this week with subpoenas?
I think West Christian is making progress. I've heard that there's someone that wants to settle. I don't know who it is, but that's what we've been hearing. That one of the market makers, you got to remember, spoofing equals jail. So unless you're going to go to jail, if you get caught, some of these guys want to pay and get off. Once one pays, the rest start to tumble. Because now, if let's say they pay $1 million to get off, I'm just throwing out a number, that takes the $1 million. Now West has a war chest to go after everybody else, right? So let's say Fancy Pants, Vertical Group, VERT, who belongs in jail. His firm settles for $1 million to get him off because he got caught spoofing 50,000 times. But he'll point out everybody. The firm will pay the $1 million. He'll rat out everybody, give everybody up, and we move down to the bigger fish. That's how it works.
This guy's, why doesn't Finger issue a dividend for a digital something and then
I yelled 60,000 times to do it. Okay? I can't, I'm not the CEO of the company. Trust me, I've tried everything in the world to get them to do something like that. You know what? I'm not the CEO. They have lawyers. They listen, everyone's always afraid of their own shadows in this thing, And that's why I'm a believer in GTII, because they believed in us through the whole thing.
This is a good point. Jenny says the problem is they know you know. That's true. All of us. Fed Now, which I have no.
What does that mean? Wait, go back. What is that?
She says the shorts know you guys know, and that is why they are attacking even harder and putting out hit pieces and sending in shills to create doubt. The problem is they know you know.
To me, that's a great thing.
She's right.
I agree. Listen, I invited them on the calls. I called them every name under the sun. They're not my friends. They're criminals, and they deserve to be in jail. What else can I say? We've done everything possible, and the SEC, and we won't stop. Nailing the SEC. We won't stop.
I think a jail down in New Orleans without air conditioning.
Oh, I forgot the name of it. Angola. I was down there last year for the LSU Florida State game.
Yeah. And
gentlemen, the Uber driver told us about his son who was arrested, and he was in that jail. He said it was the worst jail in the United States. I never pray for money. I pray for health. And I pray every day that the Kramers, their family, and Lynn partners go to Angola and get the shit knocked out of them every day of their life. That's what I pray for. Every day. That's pretty good praying, right? I'm trying
that's
my
good
best.
Praying.
Every day, I wish. And we won't stop until we get them. I'm not stopping until we get them. Again, we're doing this 23 years. This has to end. And I'm not letting these creatures, these low-life, broken-down suitcases, steal my money or anybody else's money. I don't give a shit if everybody gives up. We're not going away.
Here's a gentleman, Tomas maybe. He worked at Angola. He said it's a horrible prison.
Save a couple of cells. I got a bunch of people I have to throw in there.
What about GME? Do you think it can still squeeze?
Yes, I think I like the guy, the CEO. The CEO is a crazy bastard that's here for one thing, squeezing the shorts. He didn't take this job after leaving Chewy, making a fortune in GameStop, making a fortune in Bed Bath & Beyond, to come here to go to work and running a video store, a game store, whatever the hell it is. He's here to squeeze the shorts.
Who's that guy that does the great posts and videos? George? Is it George? You always highlight him. I just can't remember his name right now, but there is somebody to follow on that, and he's done a lot of work. He believes it'll squeeze.
Oh, George Donahue.
Sure, George Donahue. Yeah.
I tried to meet him a bunch of times, and he just, I don't know, for some reason, he never hit it off with me. I don't know.
I met him. Down at the SEC.
I've always applauded his work, and I always tried to, but I don't know. Listen, I beat to my own drum. I've been doing this a long time. There's so many great people like him that I applaud, who taught themselves this, mostly technical little loophole, and these people keep digging and fighting. But if you don't throw curveballs in here, it's very difficult to win, as you can see.
I'm going to read this one as is, because if I interpret it, I'll lose my temper. Who says the Hong Kong crew won't let them sell it down all week and then drive it past $7 on Friday? Talk about forked. Maybe he's being positive. Maybe they're letting it sell off and then they'll rally it.
Okay, guys, I worked on the street. I did major orders. Nobody when I get an order, they don't sit there and say, hey, can you move the stock up? We know William is long. He wants to sell it and make a profit. I wasn't allowed to go on and tell everyone on the street that I had 8 million shares of this to buy, and I'm going to drive it up $9. I couldn't tell people that. I would lose my job. We worked on a desk that had the phone calls were recorded. We were not allowed to speak to anybody. All right? And if I bought 8 million shares of a stock, the commission was $100,000. So I wasn't giving that up to make William so he could make $5,000. That just doesn't happen. Don't get me wrong, there's people that do it, and I've seen it done, but I wasn't doing it because I wanted to protect my franchise and what I was doing. All right, so big funds want to win for themselves. They tiptoe in, Fidelity, all these big players, Stevie Cohen. When they get into a stock, you can't even tell they're slipping in. You have to have a special eye to figure that out, that they're coming in here. Many people sit here trying to follow the whales getting in and out of names. It's not easy to spot them. Right? They try to tiptoe in. When the stock gets away from them, they stop. I've done it where I bought 800,000 shares of stock up $1, and the stock started to run. I was instructed to sell the 800,000 up $1.50 higher. We put a wall up, the stock came back down, and we put it down at all levels. So I was buying it at 51. I was flipping it at 52.50, and if it pulled back down, I was a buyer. They didn't care about anybody in the middle. Their job was to get as much stock as they can in a range. That's how big players operate. So stop thinking they're here to help you. In the long run, they will help you.
Apparently, Gary Gensler is sitting before the Senate right now, and according to someone, Gary Gensler just said, fraud is fraud.
Wow. I never would have said those words.
I don't know. I watched him in front of the House, and I find him to be, he's unaccountable, non-accountable. Somebody's asking about Fed Now, and I know nothing about Fed Now, but apparently it allows banks to settle directly with other banks. I don't know how it helps securities, but they're asking you, will Fed Now cause settlement in stocks?
I do believe that they're working on that. I've heard of it. I've heard people talk about it. That listen, they're trying to speed up listen. The faucet was wide open in 2000. All right, naked short selling. Today, they closed that valve. I'll say 80%. It's still open. They need to force the issue. They're telling them, they're putting the word out there that this is coming to an end. You got to remember, the SEC tips off all the lobbyists and all the hedge fund lawyers.
Right.
Okay? They're tipping them off. Listen, this game is coming to an end. You're going to get caught. You're going to get busted. So I think they're forcing these guys. There's not enough money in the world to buy back all these stocks these guys have sold. They're trying to get them to cover quietly and not disrupt the markets. What we're doing in Finger Motion and GTII is we're not going quietly. We're letting the world know what's going on here.
Right.
So we can wait it out until they fold. That's what I say. When is it going to be a day? Is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be a week? But we're not going away. Just remember the Prel commercial. I put it up there.
You tell two friends, they tell two friends.
There you go.
Who wears shorts?
But, that's how it goes. I told you before, GameStop, the shorts tried to beat the world. It didn't work. The world is not, the Finger Motion and in GTI, the Kramers and Lynn together cannot beat the world. All right? Accumulation will eventually wipe them off the planet. And that's what's going to happen.
Do you think the 19 million share short is still out there for GTII in Switzerland?
Yep. They called one of the biggest holders in GTI up. They told him to take a walk.
There's some one guy and a couple of people have pointed out, is it possible the Wales or somebody has accumulated calls for Friday and then they'll start buying to make that valuable for their own account? I don't know.
I like the way you think. That's the sneaky Pete way.
Right.
I guarantee you, Pete and Philly, Pedro and Philly will understand that one. I bet you he loves that idea if he's on the call.
Well, Pedro and Philly, of course, pointed out that they sell with no fear, and it looks like that's what they're doing today.
I agree, and I think that's the perfect storm is when all those calls are bought and then you jam it. I think that's a nice one. Pedro from Philly, I would love his comment on that. If he's ever seen that done before. First they buy the calls and then they jam the stock. I've never heard of that before. Everybody does that trick. What are you, crazy?
First they laugh at you, then they buy the calls.
All right. Now, first they buy the calls, then they laugh at you.
First they buy the calls, then they laugh at you.
But just go look at Andrew Left. Everything that he's ever done, they front run the negative stories first. They get their position. I put it up there. eBiz. I put it up there. Patrick Byrne did it. 7.2 million shares they naked shorted 2 days before Andrew left it. They attacked it, and the stock went down 50% on his report. And the proof is right there. And Pat Byrne said, because all these short sellers have ESP, did they know the report was coming, the attack was coming? Obviously. The short seller in Finger Motion knew that the Seeking Alpha report was coming out, and that's why they nailed it.
Yeah, this guy's asking, are phone calls recorded? Can we do a FOIA? I don't know.
Freedom of information, if you do not hit it perfect, we've done it 20 times already. Unless you ask the question and get a direct hit, they're not going to help you get you to where you need to be.
I don't know
the gentleman who did MMTLP was a direct hit. That's like throwing the Japanese dropping a bomb at Pearl Harbor in the Arizona straight down the pipe, right? It's like a 1 in a million shot, and they got it perfect, which is outstanding.
I like this guy's point. He says Lind has to buy 150 million shares. That's our buyers. That's what's going to send it up.
That is 100% correct. They didn't go away. They can't journal it someplace else. When the shorts are buying, the stocks go up. You know when they're selling because they keep pushing it down. You're watching them push it down right in front of us.
Right. What a couple people have asked, and I've ignored them. What do you think about Wolf?
I think Wolf is going higher. It's the premier Bitcoin miner in the world. I met the CEO and I guess the vice president. I forgot. These guys build nuclear power. They are power people. That's what they do. And Bitcoin mining is nothing. It's the power. That's the most important thing. And these guys are experts in nuclear power that deals with the nuclear power plant. I mean, just smart-ass people. Riot, Mara, I don't understand how they haven't made a bid for this company yet. They have a higher stock price. They should actually turn around and buy it, Mara and Riot, because they have higher costs. I think it costs, I'll say Bitcoin, I think it's Bitcoin 26,000 that's the price. I think Riot, Mara, that's where they make money from. Wolf makes money at Bitcoin 2,000. So you understand the cost of power is 2,000 is the nuclear power, and the way that Mara and Riot, I don't know the exact number, but Riot and Mara, their number's way higher. Maybe it's 17,000. I forgot the number when they told me about it. But again, those stocks are going up because they're so shorted. They're just short squeezes. Wolf, I don't think it's really started yet.
You have volume of 1,114,000 in Finger. Is this real? Is this long selling? Is this long selling?
I think 400,000 of it's fake. When no one's playing, you can move stock back and forth all day. You sell from account A. Do I need to put up the schematic of Alpine or the Kramer's LLCs? If you had 10 LLCs, you could sell from one account to two accounts to three accounts to four accounts, and it goes in a circle. That's what they're doing.
So it's spoofing. How much do you think, if you want to hazard a guess, is short today?
Well, I know at least 400. I would say out of this, I'll say the short, okay, maybe I'll say 550 to 600,000. The rest is all fake. I think the short number, it's going to come out, it's going to be 55%. It should be 100% because there's no one selling it. This is all created.
So someone has just latched onto this like a rattlesnake. You recommended apparently a broker, or thought you were going to recommend a brokerage firm for retail to trade at. Do you?
I have to get permission from them to actually tell everybody. I'm waiting to them to get back to me because they will enforce unsettled trades. But remember, when they enforce unsettled trades, they become the black sheep of Wall Street. Everyone's going to hate them. You understand?
Yeah.
They have to make that determination that, hey, once we go down this road, we're going to get all these retail accounts. We're going to come to new Robin Hood, but everybody on the street's going to hate us because we're abusing everybody. Remember, your broker can end this tomorrow. Any one of our brokers can end it. Fidelity, TD, anybody. Hey, I need delivery of my stock. It's all over with. But
Gary Gensler could end it tomorrow.
He's a clown. Disgrace. That we have to sit here having a call, watching people lose money, and we have to report on it. That's what we have to do. This is a disgrace. If you can think of something we could put on the truck to insult them, just tell me. I don't even know what to say anymore. We've done everything to insult them. We insulted the regulators, everyone. And this is going to bite them on their ass, just like MMTLP is going to bite them on their ass for putting that stuff in writing. Right? The truck, we've been whistleblowing for 3 years. How did they not say anything? How did they not arrest the Kramers? How did they not grab Lynn? The paper trail goes right back to them. All right? They're not hiding it. It goes right back to them. And the manipulation. How many people lost money in GTII? How many people lost money in Finger Motion? The damage is monstrous. How much money was stolen in Kodak? I mean, just think of the numbers. They're massive. Look at MULN. They destroyed it. Root, ROOT, destroyed. GNS, destroyed. All of them.
Eastman Kodak was part of the Dow Jones 30, and now it's
Now it's us.
us. When somebody's asking, when will they fold? Well, we don't know.
We need Kenny Rogers to tell us. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
So someone is asking, do you still think it could happen any day?
So I still think it can happen any day. It can happen in any second. That's how it works.
Elliott wave theory. I saw a chart on Twitter using Elliott wave analysis, and it looks good. That we're about ready for a move to $17, but who knows? So.
Elliott wave, this wave, the tidal wave, it doesn't make a difference. If the SEC takes their head out of their ass, the stock will be $20 before you blink an eye. That's why we're here. I'm not here for a stock to move $2, $3, $4. We've had that 5 times already. We're not here for that. We're here to break them, expose them, and put them in jail. And these guys are going down. You can't hide 160 million shares forever. It's not going to happen. And it's not getting smaller. It's getting bigger.
So we have 9 minutes to the close. It's 1,145,000.
I can't take another 9 minutes doing this.
So I agree with that. I mean, I think the questions are hitting rock bottom. So
listen, it is what it is. Everyone is upset because the market makers are moving the stock down. They bought the puts. They're creating stock for sale. I can't stop that. We've done everything we can to call the police. I told you, the only thing I didn't do is light William on fire in front of the goddamn SEC.
Well,
anyway, listen, I've had enough. Have a great weekend. Is it Friday?
No.
It's not even Friday. I thought it was Friday.
I think it's Thursday. I mean, I think it's Wednesday even.
It's Wednesday. Sorry, I thought it was Friday. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. I can't stand
Thanks a lot, Ham. You did a great job.
Good night. Thank you.
All right, bye. All right, I don't know that I'm going to stay on much longer because I feel myself agitated by some questions, and I don't think I'm correct in my interpretation, but there are a number of provocative questions, and then there's perfectly good questions, and I'm not sensing the difference occasionally. So do some yoga. I don't know. Tried to sell some GTI today, and they sent a message the shares are not negotiable. That sounds like you were selling your restricted shares, your restricted dividend. Mr. Photographic, Mr. Inappropriate, thinks by Friday 4 p.m. it could be $7. I think you could be right. You could be right. Then again, you could be wrong. That's the problem. Look, right now, what they're trying to do is take all the premium out, make all of us mad at each other, lose interest, and go away so they can continue to crime. And they actually think this can go back to normal for them. I don't see this going back to normal. If Gary Gensler actually said in front of the Senate today, fraud is fraud, that must mean he was being asked about it. It's not going to go under the rug anymore. These guys got greedy. They overplayed their hands. They're a bunch of talentless crooks. And they won't get a job on Wall Street. Arca said next Tuesday or Wednesday, finger will rise. I think he's got a good grasp of technical analysis. He's been right A lot of times. And Avid's good too. And U.S. Tahoe 1 and a couple other people on here I'm not remembering are all very good at it. Best thing to do is stop having calls. They feed off your fear and you're showing them your hand. Well, okay. I'm going to assume that you're, in fact, with the shorts. I personally, particularly in the case of Finger right now, I don't think it matters. If we sold everything we owned, the stock could go down briefly. I think someone's buying it. I think we're riding a tiger. We aren't the tiger. If they're watching, they're watching. What are they going to learn? That I'm calling them out as being crooks? There's nothing to learn. We know what they do. If I don't have calls, they're going to stop being crooks. What they didn't expect is for Ham to convince people not to panic out when they do these bear raids, which are illegal, which are fraud. And as Gary Gensler apparently said, hey, fraud's fraud. What can I do about it? It's time to put a real man or woman in charge of the SEC. Russell Brand will expose it. I mean, maybe. I'll listen to Waylon and Willie and the boys. Yes, M. Hobson, and I do think it's trillions. I know. I think people are probably, Jenny, having fun watching me lose my cool, and they figured me out. But I'll try to be better. The great video on Finger last night. Yeah, a woman with balls, or just a woman, just an honest person. I think Gerbir Grawal would be perfect, or Anna, Queen of Trades. Maybe Syntax. I don't know. She's got the energy. Video is CEO talking about Finger in motion. I don't know if it's a video or an audio. I think it's an audio. Why disrespect your long-term viewers that have supported you? I don't mean to. Matthew, I don't mean to disrespect. Sometimes I misinterpret the short little sentence and I get it wrong. There are times I get frustrated, and I think people are intentionally either being obtuse, or I just get it wrong, Matthew. I just get it wrong, and so I apologize. I don't mean to offend any viewers who have supported me, and if I offended you, Matthew, I sincerely apologize for it. Buy Finger in the 430s? Well, I don't know. It's 448. Maybe it'll come down there. Maybe you buy some here and bid for the rest lower. You're cool. There's a song about you're cool as a... What's that? Oh, I know what it is. Tennessee whiskey. Well, there's been times I've snapped at people. He's right, and it's not good. I'm not proud of it. But um, uh, I will admit that when I'm doing these videos, like right now, my head is pounding. And I don't know if that's a sign that I'm about to croak, or it's that I'm not breathing enough, or if it's just stress. I don't know what it is, but it puts me on edge. Oftentimes, uh, it's just me. I don't mind stupid questions, but sometimes I think people just ask the same question over and over again. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not a good person, and I apologize, Matthew, for offending. I really don't mean to offend any viewer at all. Hi, Grandpa. Um, Drink more water. Watch Finger right now. I just looked up and I was getting excited. I thought it said 483. It's not 483, but it is 463. KYP. KYP. I don't know. KYP. I don't know. I'll go smell the roses and get some sunshine. Sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy. I think I've been depressed about Djokovic losing too. I think that's put more pressure on me. That's nice, KYP. I think that's put more pressure on me than the options. You know, one thing Giannis, my friend in London, said to me, Billy Bob Ray, he used to call me Billy Bob Ray. It's always darkest before it goes totally black. Yeah, I think he'll take the U.S. Open, and I think he'll become number one in the world as soon as Cincinnati or Montreal. Well, yeah, a spin on what you're saying that we should invest with hedge funds. Why didn't I, when I lived in London, just set up a fraud street, raising money from companies, getting them to sign documents that trapped them, and then start selling stock from offshore and make myself bloody rich? Why didn't I do that? When I first started in the business, I would never recommend, even though they were hot, I would never recommend tobacco stocks. I never recommend alcohol stocks. And I never recommended the big defense industry stocks, which chops off a big portion. But that was my little quiet moralistic stance. Well, I didn't do it also because I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I never could do it. I couldn't be Kurt Kramer, Seth Kramer, Charlie Mayo. I don't envy the hundreds of millions of dollars they've taken out of the market. I couldn't be that smiling weasel, Jeff Easton. I couldn't be the terribly excited Philippe Vallier. I couldn't be any of them. I couldn't be that billionaire that needs to align himself with such a shady shop, John Hancock. I wouldn't want to be Benchmark Capital or any of their clients. I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. And By the way, I'm not unique. There's a lot of people, once they understand what's going on, they're not going to do it. There's a lot of integrity on Wall Street. A lot of it. Well, we could fly above the Trump Mar-a-Lago, but I think our next president's going to be Joe Biden because he's done such a great job and he's protected us from all the sins of Donald Trump. Thank you, Cindy Lou Who. Nothing was stupid about what you said, Matthew Parker. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing was stupid about what you said. I don't even remember exactly what it was, but there was another gentleman that I thought said something that, look, let me take that word back. I'm not going to use the word stupid. It's an unfair word. I said stupid questions. Well, I should finish that to make the thought fully clear. I don't believe there's anything such as a stupid question. I should have been more clear. I don't think there's anything such as a stupid question. But I'm learning that I'm not always the best answerer. So, I like that. A laser light. I like that. Alcaraz reminds you of Federer with his shots? Frankly, I think Alcaraz reminds me of Djokovic, only he's got a more powerful forehand. But yeah, the young man is talented. Can't argue with that. He's got an arm that looks like a lobster, rock lobster. They want us upset. Mike, your question, look, I don't mind any and all questions, and sometimes I get, yesterday and then today, I get these capitalized questions that come over and over and over again. And I have a list of questions, and it's like, hey, pal, I see it. I try to take them one at a time. If you capitalize it, alert me over and 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 over again. I guess I'm not the best at not overreacting, and I'm sorry about that. John Erickson, what's your comment on Ham recommending $11 calls last week, getting viewers totally destroyed? You yourself were concerned and wondering if we should roll to August while there was still value. Well, I don't think that question, and it's by the size of the little text box, gets the full context. Let's look at the 11s right now. 0 bid, $5 ask. Let's go to August. The 11s are 30 cents ask. So let's just remember why Ham was recommending the Julys. Number one, Ham doesn't know when big buyers will come in. Number two, he does not know when, if it's Jeffries, will say, pals, we're going to buy you in. We're going to buy you in. Ham doesn't know when the shorts themselves will start buying in. He doesn't know all those things. But what he does know is the volume has been strong. Somebody's been buying. The stock is behaving like it's going up. He also knows from studying the company for 5 years or over 5 years that the short position is over 150,000 so shares. So he knows 150 million. So he knows that someone somewhere is hurting big time. So he doesn't know if it's going to go this week or not. But what he said is you could buy the July calls for less than half, maybe 30% of the cost of what you'd pay for August. And if you had put the money in August 11 calls a couple of weeks ago, you would have lost more than the amount of money that you are going to lose in the July calls. You can look it up. If you had bought at the same time instead August calls of the 11s, number one, you'd have fewer. Number two, you would have paid a lot of time premium. And number three, right now, you'd be losing more money if you had bought the August calls. So one of the reasons Ham recommended July calls is you're risking less money. If it doesn't work, he said, you can then buy the August calls next week or the following week at a cheaper time premium. For me, I kept saying to you and others that the bids can disappear in July. I was surprised there were bids last week. But what I did, and I told you guys, I had bought some twos and twos, two threes, and I think fours. Whatever it is. I'm not going to show you my account. But I bought them inexpensively. As the stock went up, I didn't do a great job. For example, with the twos, I didn't wait. What I did is I sold a bit 2 weeks ago on whatever day I started. I sold a bit more the next day. I sold a bit more the next day. Then it became last week. I sold a bit more on, I think, whenever, Tuesday, because was Monday a holiday? I can't remember. And then I sold a bit the next day and the next day and the next day. So I spread my sales out over, I think, 6, 7, 8 days. I didn't get the high. So I didn't particularly do a good job. But I took the money out, and each time I took the money out, I bought higher priced July calls that were cheap. I'm going to lose that money. It's going to all be gone. But I took money off the table, and I only put a little bit at the Julys. Why? Because when I sat down and looked at the July 11s, I didn't buy the 11s. I looked at them. I bought the 8, 9s, and 10s. But when I looked at, for example, the 10s, the July 10s were expensive, all-time premium. So I knew that was going to disappear. But I could buy 20 of them. If I went to August, I could buy 5 of them. So I said to myself, I'd rather buy 20 of the Julys. I said, I'd rather buy 20 of the Julys, because if it goes this week, I'm going to own 20 of them instead of just 5. And if the 20 expire worthless, hey, there's no crying in baseball. I only used 20% or less of the monies I took off the table to buy them. Next week, in August, I'm not sure I'll do it because I don't know that I will have the dry powder. Next week in August, I can look at those calls and maybe I do that again for August, knowing they could expire. Even August is only 5 weeks away. What if there's big buyers out there, but what if they only start in August? What if they only start in September? I don't know. But the reason you buy the close-in month, options have 2 points of value. Intrinsic value. Right now, the stock is 446. It closed, 443. If you owned the July $2 calls right now, and I'll guarantee you there's no premium in those stocks. Okay, the $2 are trading bid $2.25, no premium. The intrinsic value of the July $2 calls is the difference between $2 and $4.43, and no one's willing to pay you even that number according to the bid and ask right now. They want to get it as slight discount. That's the intrinsic value. Premium, time premium, is what you're paying to own the calls that's above that. So right now, I bought this morning July 9 calls at 5 cents. They're going to expire worthless. There's no bid. But at the time I bought them, the 8s were trading at 10 or 15 cents. The 8s now are 5 cents. And maybe the 7s will be 5 cents tomorrow on the ask. So let's look at the 8s. There's 2 more days to trade them. 99% chance they're going to expire worthless. Absolutely losing the money. Tomorrow, I could go in and buy 10 8s for $50. I'm going to lose all that money. Guaranteed. But if I went to August and looked at the 8s, I'd have to buy 10. I'd have to pay $500. To buy the 13s, I'd have to pay $250. To buy the 14s, I'd have to pay $200. So by buying the Julys, I'm paying $50 for 10 of them. They're going to be worthless. They're going to be absolutely worthless. Guarantee you. But what if the buy-in comes tomorrow? What if the buy-in comes on Friday? What if big whales come in tomorrow and Friday? What if the stock, I'm talking about buying the July 8s. What if the stock closes above $10? Miracle of miracles. It snaps back and runs or goes higher. But let's just use $10. My 10 calls are worth $2,000. I bet $50. Okay, what happens if I had bought the August 7s? It would have cost me $550. They'd still be in existence. But the risk reward, if it ran to 10, I could get out at $2,000, but it cost me $550, so my profit's less. Now, what if the July calls expire worthless, as it's 99% odds they will? But I spent $50. So come Monday, maybe middle of the day, maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, after the initial buying flurry is done, I could then look at the August 9s. Sorry, 8s. I could look at the August 8s. And the time, if the stock still is trading at $5 or less, the time premium will contract. And maybe I can buy those for 10 cents instead of paying 45 cents now. So I can be in the July calls for $50. Maybe next Tuesday or Wednesday, I could be in the August calls, 10 of them, for $150. Combined, I pay $200 for that experience. Maybe. Because we don't know what they're going to trade next week. Right now, to buy the 8 calls would cost me, the August would cost me $450. That's why Ham was recommending July. Now, I did not trade my calls the best I could for July. I took a strategy of selling a bit each day. That was stupid. I should have just hit the bids a week ago, 2 weeks ago, taken all my profits off. How do I know I should have done that? Because my backward-looking eyeballs can tell me, hey, the stock's $4.50. 2 weeks ago, it was $7. Why didn't you sell everything? I didn't know that then. The $7 was constricting the very souls of these naked shorts because there were buy-ins on the verge of happening. Now, what you're seeing is, oh, well, Ham said July, we're losing money. Well, I'm losing a bunch. I mean, since I'm going to lose it all, I'll tell you how many I have. They're not going up. I'm going to lose everything. I got to add them up. I have 30 of the July 8s. I bought them inexpensively, but much more expensive than where they're now. I have 54 of the July 9s. And I have 35 of the 10s. So I have 119 July calls that are going to expire worthless. I don't remember the exact numbers I paid for them, but I used the profits from lower strike prices. I guarantee you this cost me thousands of dollars. But I didn't know when I did it, when the stock was 6 and 7, that they were going to get it down to 450. I could have guessed. They get this shill, this criminal, in my opinion, in my judgment, Michael Dion, to write this report as cover so they can come in as criminals, in my opinion. They bought puts. Gensler can find that out. But he's cavalier about it. They sold calls, and then they coordinated the attack for the last 6-7 days. I didn't know they would do that. So why did I buy, with some of my profits, the 8s, 9s, and 10s? Because I wanted to be there if the stock went to $20 or $30. Why did I buy so many? Why didn't I just buy 10 of them? It'd be enough to be in it, because I wanted to experience what might be a avenue to making, with my profits, a big payday. That's why I bought July's. Now, these are going to expire worthless. Come Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, right now, even now, after the stock is down, if I were to buy 30 of the August 8s, 30 of the August 8s, cost me $1,500. If I were to buy 54 of the August 9s, let's call it 50, cost me $2,000. If I were to buy 35 of the August 10s, it'd be $1,000, over $1,000, $1,200. That's a huge amount of money to pay. That's why buying the Julys under $1, and I don't remember the different prices, made more sense. The stock was higher. But even now with the stock down, the August calls are all premium. Next week, they will have September calls and November. They might even have October. We'll find out. They'll definitely add September. Well, when they do that, the premium will go to the September and the November, maybe October. August calls won't have much premium. So instead of buying August calls at a massive premium, I bought the July calls admittedly, it's all premium and very little time. So in that sense, it's expensive. But out of my pocketbook, it's very much a smaller number. Next week, maybe midweek, if this, ceteris paribus, the premiums that I'm looking down here, maybe $4,000 or $5,000, even now to replace my position, even now, maybe next week it's only $1,000 to do it, or $1,500. Will I do it? I don't know. I'm not a Rockefeller, but I'll see what my mood tells me then. I'll see the lay of the land. But it's cheaper to have bought and lost in July and then revisit the August calls next week. It's cheaper, assuming the stock doesn't explode to the upside, than it would have been to buy the August calls in the first instance. That is why Ham suggested it. The other reason Ham suggested, if it runs, take some of your money, roll up. If you bought the 3s, the stock went to 7, sell the 3s, buy the 8s with a little bit of money. And then you're just playing with house money. I don't know if you had an opportunity to do that. When you buy calls, it's not an invitation to be diamond hands. It's not trading AMC and GME. It's not time to say, oh, I'm going to make all this money. Options are ephemeral. If profits in options are ephemeral, poof, they're gone. So when it runs, take it. When there's buyers, sell to them. When it's running, leave something on the table for the buyers. When there's a bid and there's volume on the bid, go ahead and take advantage of it. It's not Ham's fault. I'm sorry. It's just not Ham's fault. It's just common sense. And did I do a good job? No, I just told you. And now I don't remember. But I have 119 calls that are going to expire worthless. But the cost I paid for them is a fraction of the cost if I had bought the same position in August. Put another way, using the same money, I wouldn't have 119. I might have 21. I see Finger as an explosive short covering rally and a squeeze to the upside. Did it happen this week? No, it didn't. Could it happen tomorrow? Sure. Could it happen Friday? Yeah. My opinion, I actually think Finger could go any day. But what bothers me about August, even though maybe they'll come in and buy in August, what bothers me about August in my too long career, life on this planet, career on Wall Street, if you want to call it that, I think people go away in August. I think there's a risk that nothing happens until the second and third week of September. That gives me some real pause, but I don't know any specifics. I don't know how in China, if they take the month of August off. I don't know. In Hong Kong, Singapore, New York City, I know most bankers take August off. Their wives say, or their spouses say, let's get out of Dodge. August is a big, dull, boring month. On the other hand, while the cat is away, the mice can play. And if real buyers come in and there's no cats around selling, you could see volcanic moves to the upside and Finger. I forget who I'm talking to, but it all boils down to what Ham said. They don't ring the bell to tell you when the squeeze happens. Let me put it another way to you. Did you know when GME was going to run? No. If you had known, do you think you could have bought the stock at $2 or $7 when it ran to 700. I don't even remember. 400. I don't remember. No. If you knew when it was going to run, they would have already arbitraged it. The big boys would have run it all the way up. So I'm sorry. If you lost money in July calls, it's painful. I just admitted to you that I'm losing thousands of dollars in these calls. It's painful. I know. I fully expected there would be buying this week. There isn't. Did somebody guarantee to me that there would be buying this week? No. Did somebody give me inside information there would be buying this week? No. Was it the chart action and the volume and all the ingredients for a squeeze? The fact that the Lynn partners at one point were down $600 or $700 million from just 4 weeks ago? Yeah. But how do I know when it's going to go? Is it smart to press your bet when you think the stock can go $20, $30, $40, $50, $80 to the upside in a heartbeat? Maybe. In retrospect, it looks stupid. And Ham said by July. I just think I told you why Ham said. If you had bought August, you'd be down by more money than if you bought July's. Now you'd say, well, we'd still be alive. That's true. But you'd be down more money, a lot more money. So I think you may not want to do it. I'm not recommending it. I can't give you recommendations. I would advise you not to buy calls next week because of how you're reacting to this week. It's painful. It's not enjoyable. Just buy the stock. The stock is so cheap at $4.43 that it's almost like a call option. Just buy the stock if you're so inclined. I can't give advice. And sell calls against it. Be a receiver of call options. Maybe maybe you won't want to do it, but for example, if you bought 1,000 shares, it cost you $4,500. Tomorrow, you buy the stock. You could sell the July calls for 10 cents. Doesn't make much sense. Bring in $100. You could sell the August. Sevens, possibly for 50 cents. You could bring in $500. Definitely for 45 cents, possibly for 50 cents. You paid $4.43. You sell those calls for 50 cents. You just have to wait till they expire. And now all of a sudden, how much money do you have in the stock? $3.90. What do you give up for that? Well, if it runs, you're only going to get $7. But if it ran and they exercised it, you come in the next day, you sold your stock for $7,000, and remember you got the premium, you can look at the stock at that time and say, you know what, I want to do that again. Maybe it costs you $8, maybe it costs you $6.50, maybe it costs you $9, but you can establish the position again and sell calls. Then you're starting to take premiums to yourself. Most of the time, the premiums will come to you without the stock being exercised. If, in this example I just gave, you sold the August calls for 50 cents, in 3 weeks they might be trading at 10 cents. You don't have to wait till they expire. Just buy them back at 10 cents. Then you lock in for sure the 40 cents. Then maybe you go out and sell the September calls. There are things you can do instead of saying, Ham lost me money, I'm losing money, this isn't for me. There are ways of playing options that puts the odds in your favor. There's ways of playing options that you don't risk a lot of money. There's ways of buying the stock and selling calls. that makes profits for you every quarter, every month, every 6 months. I mean, you could buy the stock today. Tomorrow, you could buy 1,000 shares of Finger at this depressed price, $4.43. And you could go out and sell the February $11. No, probably not. You could go sell the February 9s probably for $1. Probably. You bring in $1, the stock goes to 9. You brought in $1, you're out. You sold it for $10. But if nothing happens, you've at least brought in that $1. I wouldn't recommend playing that way because that's a lot of months, and the odds of it going over 9 is very high in that time frame. But I'm telling you, there are ways where you don't have to be a victim in the market. And yes, it's painful. I sold some of, I forget which ones. Last week, I forget, on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, one of the days, I could have gotten out at 85 cents. That's my memory. The next day they were 70 or 75 cents. And I said, I'm going to try to get 85. Didn't happen. The next day they were, I think, 70 to 80 or 85 cents. Something like that. I said, I'll see, maybe they're going to go up. They didn't. So midday, I had to face the cold, hard truth. If I wanted to get out of these calls, because that was on my schedule, they weren't going to give me 70 cents or even 75 cents. So I sold them at 45 cents. I was so mad at myself. But I said, the information in the market today is different than it was 2 days ago. I'm not going to get 80 cents or 85 or 75 cents. So my choice is don't sell and run the risk that the premium disappears, which I didn't want to do, or sell and take the money, or sell and buy a few calls. That's what I did. So anyway. I don't know anything about CVNA. I don't know. Hey, Lugrasso. The shills get to me. I don't know if it wasn't a shill. It was, I don't think it was. Maybe it was. Maybe it was. Yeah, it's 462, but it's not a lot of volume. Look, when real buying comes in, and the biggest buyer is Jeffries in the account of Lynn Partners, whatever it's called, you're not going to even have a chance to buy call options. You're not going to have a chance to buy the stock. If one morning or during the day, Jeffries calls Jeff Easton and says, pal, we gave you 2 weeks. You need to bring in $250 million or we're buying you in. I'm making it up. He's going to say, I don't have the money. They hang up, they start buying. The stock will be $10, $20, $30 before you have a chance to get your pencil out and calculate how many calls you can buy at 12. So that's just the way it is. I think GTII, if Finger runs, I think GTII will run in lockstep. I think they're trying to drive GTII down. They think we're not watching, but I think there's a major buyers in GTII. I don't think they can get it back under 70 cents or to 45 cents, but it's possible. They want to crush your soul. But where are they going? Where are they going? The stock's down right now. That's the wrong, it might be the right thing. I don't know. they can get at any point in time when a stock is trading, they can drive it down lower. They can go down 30%, 50%. If you can't absorb that, you got to face facts. I got to get out. But the other way to handle is I'm either going to buy when it's down, or I'm just not going to look at it. I'm in it to wait. The shorts are selling. I don't know how many times I have to explain this. The shorts, the naked shorts, are counterfeiting. They're fraudulently manipulating the stock. It's against the law. They are driving the stock price down, spoofing, walking it down, working with so-called market makers who are not market makers. They're just there to take advantage of the lax oversight that Gary Gensler has. And they're going to drive it down. We can buy once with $1. They can sell shares over and over and over and over again. It's the same story. And they're going to keep doing it. They're going to try to get GTII down to 70 cents, 65 cents, 40 cents. Ultimately, they would love to drive GTII down to under a penny so they can take all their money off the table without paying taxes, and then they can put pictures up, no one FUXs with our squad. What will stop that? Where are they going to sell all those shares? Alpine is on life support. Are they doing it through Vision or Venue or whatever the hell it is up in New Jersey? Maybe. Are they paying off shorts to help them drive it down? Maybe. Is it the criminals in Switzerland trying to sell it down so they don't have a big margin call at UBS? Maybe. I don't know how low GTII can go. They are definitely trying to make it go lower. So it could. You have a choice every day you wake up. Should I sell GTII and just absorb losses? I'm going to put it over in AMC. I'm going to put it in Eastman Kodak. I'm going to put it over in Finger. I'm getting out of GTII. I can't stand it anymore. I've been in it for 6 months. I've heard all the stories. I don't believe it. I don't think there's 400 million shares counterfeit. I don't think management's on my side. I don't believe that management's been called by the shorts to cover and said 2 words NO every single time. I don't believe management's doing everything they can do to cause a reckoning of the system that Gary Gensler won't do. I don't believe management is trying to make delivery of the shares mandatory. I don't believe any of that. I don't believe that the Trento mine deal is ever going to happen. The 1-800 law firm deal never happened, so I don't think the mining deal is going to happen. It's different people, but obviously if the law firm deal didn't happen, these other people must be the same type of people, so I don't think that's going to happen. It's on their website, but I don't believe it. I don't believe that they're ever going to have a distribution of a dividend on upstream. Just don't believe it. I think that management's going to do a deal with Power Up Lending again because they did one before. They're going to screw us the way COSM did or Popcorn did or any of the companies that took a deal. Yeah, I just don't buy it. I think GTII is a big bunch of pump and dumpsters. It hasn't gone up higher than $9. It hasn't gone up to $4 repeatedly. It hasn't gone up to $3 repeatedly. It hasn't given me chances to sell out and buy more cheaply. So therefore, it never will. I just don't. They're just, and the shorts have all the power in the world. Alpine got extensions. They got judges to give them extensions. Obviously, FINRA has no power to expel Alpine, who committed 35,000 violations of cease and desist orders over the last year. FINRA has no power. SEC has no power. The legal system is going to take forever. John Hurry and Justine Hurry are going to continue to be able to short GTII. The FBI is not investigating the person who sold GTII to Westpac Securities costing $4 million. Just not happening. The lawyer, Wes Christian, isn't subpoenaing 52 Jane or John Does. The rumor of a market maker wanting to settle with Wes Christian in the GTII case is totally wrong. I don't believe they're going to pay $1 million to settle and rat out their friends. I just don't believe it. So we've gone down all the reasons why GTII is going to go lower. The shorts know something you don't know. And obviously they're going to drive it down lower. How low can it go? I don't know. 10 cents. It can go to 10 cents. 1 cent. All right, I've given you all the negatives. Do you mind if I give you some of the positives? Management in GTII is on the side of the shareholders. Management has been offered from the shorts over the last 2.5 years to take a deal the way COSM did and other companies. They've always said no. Management has tried a dozen different ways of getting creative to give special dividends. FINRA has blocked some. The SEC has said no on some. But last November, GTII on their warrant as a special dividend, the squeeze was on. And there's friends of this community who remain friends of this community that maybe very innocently were shocked that changing a name of a company, changing the QSIP, and exclaiming that there were 2,000% short position was somehow going to cause a squeeze in COSM. And that management promised not to do a reverse split. And management promised not to do a deal. Well, I'm sure everyone that was involved was innocent. Absolutely innocent. Gullible, naive, and giving their best advice. But because as a group we all moved over there, the squeeze didn't happen in GTII. So now people ask, when is it ever going to go? I've been in it forever. But they don't say, hey, wait a minute. Is it possible that a CEO was paid off to pop our bubble? Maybe. The Kramers were down at almost $1 billion. $1 billion. You don't think some things happened? I don't know. I'm just a naive putz. I'm sure it just was by accident. But anyway, let me give you the positive. It showed that the company is always doing things to catch out the shorts, which Gensler doesn't do, broker-dealers don't do, FINRA doesn't do, the over-the-counter markets don't do. It was working. We left the battlefield. That was our choice. It wasn't the company's fault. We left. But guess what? When we left, it was about 150 million shares short. Now it may be as high as 400 million shares short because of the special restricted share dividend that was given. Another attempt to cause GTII to squeeze. Where do I think the stock price can go? It's 88 cents. This year it's been as low as 43 cents. It can easily go to 43 cents. They can take 88 cents down by half in a coordinated, fraudulent, walk it down, spoofing and spiffing and lying and communicating. They can take it down. So you want to hear a bad number? There's my bad number. They can take it to the yearly lows. But I don't think that's going to happen. I do not believe that's going to happen. I think the shorts remain in trouble. This is a key area of support. If they drive it below here, the next level is 80 cents. If they drive it below that, I think the next level is around 72 cents. This is the trading in GTII over the last 3 or 4 months. That is all fraud. Gary Gensler doesn't care. He has no interest to check why all those days in a row it went red. Why from here, all those days down to here is red. Doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Hundreds of millions of fraudulent shares sold. Gary Gensler doesn't. Fraud's fraud. You've had a turnaround. It rallied. And it pulled back, went sideways, it rallied, and they've driven it down again. They can kill this stock at will. On the other hand, they have margin calls. They're in trouble. And I didn't expect them to bring it down below this 50-day moving average, but they did. I think that's a test. And it'll go back above the 50-day moving average. I think your next target's right here. It's about $1.90. But hey, we're playing in a big boys league, big girls league. The shorts have one strategy. Lie to the regulators, lie to the companies, communicate in a racketeering way with other shorts, sell shares that don't exist, do it from offshore, never deliver shares, never locate shares, and their ally is Gary Gensler. It hasn't changed. The story hasn't changed. Every time you look at it and you see the price down, I don't think you should be in the stock. Why is the stock down? The stock is down because the criminals have a 350 million naked short position. Maybe it's a lot less. Maybe it's 400 million. They're in trouble. Or maybe they're not. But their strategy is the same. Counterfeit shares. Walk it down. Scare people. FUD people. It's the same thing. It never changes. But the question is, what's wrong with GTII? Look, Finger just announced massive fundamental news. Last month, they announced a massive link up with the Netflix of Southeast Asia. And the criminals can still sell. GTII has huge things pending, but everyone's impatient. Bottom line, I don't know how low it can go. I don't know when it's going to turn around and go up. If you're tired of waiting, I really strongly suggest that you simply sell, take the loss, and move on. If you are tired of waiting, tired of my bullshit, one thing you can say is, you know what, this really pisses me off. I'm sick of these bastards. I'm going to buy more down here. And I'm going to put my GTC orders. I'm going to go plow the North 40 or whatever I have to do, and I'm just going to look at my account after it goes up. Those are basically your only two choices. One sensible choice is, you know what, I'm losing money in GTII. I'm going to get out. I'm going to lock in my short-term losses. I'm never going to listen to Farrand again. He's full of shit. And I'm going to go put it in AMC or GME or in Eastman Kodak and see what happens there. At least I locked in my losses, and I have losses to offset gains. Or you say, you know what? Wall Street's all fraud street. I'm tired of this. I'm going to put my money in managed account, like an ETF or a managed account that's run by the criminals. That way I get a benefit of the criminality that Gary Gensler greases the sluices for. Obviously, SEC, Gary Gensler, FINRA, OTC markets, the system are on the side of this criminality. I'm going to go ahead and invest and see if I can make some money that way. Or just take your money out of the market. I cannot stop the fraud. I would tell you there are some things I might have done more, but I have tried to give every ounce of my energy to fight this fraud. GTII is going to go down. Finger is going to go down. Wolf is going to go down on any given day, any given week, any given month. Why? Because all the criminals do is sell. They get their friends to sell. They fraudulently fill out paperwork. They tell the prime brokers they'll deliver to mañana. And in your accounts are IOUs. And Gensler goes after Kim Kardashian's tush, goes after Lindsay Lohan's smile or her eyes or one of them. I don't know what. He doesn't. The cop is off the beat. How do I fight that for you? How do I give you information so that these sell-offs don't happen? I don't know how to do it. So my suggestion is not walk, run, not run, sprint, not sprint. Get in the fastest car you know and drive away from investing in the Wall Street markets. Stop thinking that you can make a lot of money overnight, which you can. But guess what? You have to give up something for that. Time, anxiety, a series of bad trades, and then hopefully one works. But just get out. Just get out. GTII is going to go lower. Finger is going to go lower. How much? I don't know. They'll try to get Finger down tomorrow. They'll try to get GTII down tomorrow. Every stock we talk about, they'll try to get down. Does it change the fundamental story? In the case of GTII, you have management on your side. Alpine is bust, and you have proof of the situation, but you have as many as 400 million shares that need to be covered. That's your buyer. Is it ever going to happen? I don't know. They're going to continue to defraud you until it does. Get out. It may never happen. Just get out. In Finger, they're going to try to sell it off. They're in trouble right now. They're experiencing a stock that went from $1.44. This asshole, Michael Dion, says in here, I rate the stock a sell. Limited upside. I feel this is a sub $1 stock. He's telling you what they were trying to do. They were trying to get it under $1. So why? So it would be in default of the contract, although I think that contract's gone. But so it would be delisted. Then they'll come with their smiling faces and say, let's do a reverse split. And then they gleefully can take 90% of their money off the table without paying taxes. That is the goal of these criminals. But guess what? The stock went from $1.44 to $7.50. And now we have a correction. Now they're fighting with everything they can to kill the stock. Are they going to be successful? Who bought Finger up from $1.44? Was it you? Me? No, I don't think so. Somebody's buying. Somebody sees something. Is it because COVID is going away? Is it because Finger is bringing the number one insurer of devices into a $1.6 billion market of cell phones? And China has already built into the price of the phones that people buy the cost of the care for those devices. And Finger, Ham has said Finger will get 25% of that premium. It's an annuity forever. But this guy says it's a sub $1 stock. He's part of the fraud, in my judgment. Everything's from my judgment. Their revenue, even during COVID, on reselling minutes, they're at $12 million a quarter and growing. They bought the Netflix of Southeast Asia, 100 million users and growing. They are the toll booth with their phones to T-Mall and the rest, and they charge a fee. That's growing. And now that COVID restrictions are gone, that's expected to grow more. Their big data, Munich Re, Pacific Re, can get data for life insurance, for car insurance, for fire insurance, for health insurance, things that didn't even exist in China. And Finger has a trusted relationship with China Unicom and China Mobile, and frankly, it's probably the China government. And you're saying, oh my God, the stock's down for 5 days. And you're saying I'm overreacting. I am. GTII and Finger offer you a chance, it's only a chance, at life-changing profits. When? I have no idea. In the case of Finger, I think it could happen before the U.S. Open. But maybe it's September. In return for those chances, you're going to have to deal with FUD. You're going to have to deal with criminals. You're going to have to deal with a captured SEC. You're going to have to deal with indifference from journalists and anyone. But you've got the man who knows it, Ham, giving you every ounce of his time, his energy, and his knowledge, and he's telling you how to do it. But you're going to also have to pay in the cost of false starts. When you buy call options, you might lose on them. I bought calls in Finger in October, November. I lost everything. This time I made some back. welcome to the big leagues. But if it runs, you're going to be telling the story for the rest of your life. But if you want in, that's what you're facing. If you don't, Treasury bills are paying 5%. Real estate apparently is going up 10, 15% a year. The economy is booming. There's other places to put your money. So anyway, it's 5:05. I apologize. I think GTII and Finger are going to go down tomorrow. I think Finger could snap back during the day, and Finger could snap back before option expiry on Friday. I think the Finger stock could easily go 8, 9, 15, 21. Is it likely by Friday? Probably not. But when it turns, it's going to turn like a son of a bitch. If/when Finger goes, GTII will follow suit. It'll go to $2, $5, $10. Until then, the criminals are going to continue to sell stock they don't own. And until then, Gary Gensler is going to be staring at his belly button. I don't know what else to do. I know that Ham is thinking constantly, working his butt off, and sharing the information on how to do these plays. Is he going to win? I don't know. There's hundreds of people working on MMTLP and the rest. But anyway, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to say peace, love, and happiness, and we'll see you tomorrow.